Brilliant. What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and it's hot, it's humid, and it's sweaty in the John household. John's talking to me, he's talking to everyone. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's having to socialise with the family. What's going on, John? Speak to us.
Sorry, I've got Lisa asking me, is the camera this way because she's getting changed?
Oh, let's change it to the other way, please.
Right, come on, let's go, shush. Let's go.
Let's go. What is going on, everyone? John is back again. Lisa's in the background with the bubblies out. Mike's here having the time of his life. And we've got some positive news to talk about, John. Nick Cox, Manchester United Academy Director, a guy that has been instrumental for Manchester United for the last 9 years. Some of the comments, if you Google his name, if you read Twitter and X and you read Facebook, you know, here's one particular statement. Nick Cox genuinely is the best thing about the club, in my opinion. Devastated to see him go. Here's another one. Nick Cox, Man United Director of Academy, in advanced talks for Everton revamp. Cox has been instrumental in fixing a stagnated Manchester United Academy. This guy knows football. Happy?
Well, he knows his job. And listen, I put out on X about half an hour ago that this is probably going to be one of the most positive videos that we've ever done on here. And we've been used to the shit that we've had to put up with for years under the previous regime, under the previous owner, under the previous manager. And it's good to feel like this. And we said at the end of the season that we felt like we were getting our club back under David Moyes. Now, I feel like we're getting our club back on the map, only because we've got someone from Man City coming in, which probably looks like it's going to be next week. We've got Cox coming in, who's going to be probably next week. So the Freakins have come in and they're making statements and they're getting well-respected people from well-respected clubs into Everton Football Club. And we've cried out for this for years. We've needed positivity. We've needed people to come into the club who've known what they're doing. And you mentioned something before, you know, Mashiri come in and he brought Steve Walsh in and he brought Ronald Koeman in, who never called us. He always said Everton. It was a job for the boys, as you said. The Freakins are completely the opposite from what we're seeing now. And it can only be good and it's positive. We're bringing the right people into the right positions, but also added to that, they're also giving Moyes more of a say on transfers into the club. And we said this very early under the Freakins' tenure when they first took over Everton. And we said this, that the director of football title will be gone out the window. And all these people who are bringing in aren't directors of football, but there's a good mix of experience, well-renowned people in football. And also, you read things on Twitter from the likes of Paddy Boylan, a friend of ours, who says Everton have pulled off a major coup by getting this fella from Man United. 2 weeks ago, his headlines were, Everton have pulled a major coup off from getting this fella from Manchester City. Everton are starting to get put on the map again, and people are realising now the road that this football club under these new owners are trying to go down.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to highlight about this guy is he is a complete human being. He started at Sheffield United. He worked and he was instrumental in turning Calvert-Lewin into a striker. Now, look, all jokes aside, people will make comments about that. You probably would make a quick comment about that. But he turned a utility player into a striker. He turned a utility player into a Premier League striker. You know, he helped support that. He's on Twitter, by all accounts, you know, at Coxie3012, I believe is his handle. And all of the things he's got on there about Man United youth players, Angel Gomez, who was a Manchester United player, he's just signed a free transfer. He's played for England and he's done phenomenal. You've got posts about McTominay scoring his 12th goal in Serie A for Napoli and becoming a bit of a legend to Napoli. You've got all of the work he's done recently with players like Garnacho and the work that he's done with the academy there. He's also seen the rising of Rashford over the last 9 years, and albeit maybe it hasn't quite worked out now, but it was at the time. Ahmad Darlow at the minute, who's currently ripping it up. I think he was a transfer, but irrespective,
Kobe Mainoo.
The point I make is this guy knows what he's looking at. He knows about recruitment. And when you look at the bigger picture at Everton, John, all of a sudden, there is a structure. Like, there's a genuine structure. There's genuine people from big clubs that are being poached by Everton. And by all accounts, from what I'm reading, this guy is a huge loss to Manchester United. The comments, if you read the comments, he is literally being called Mr. Carrington. So you can't get any higher praise than that. And Mark Douglas in the press, he come out and said Everton pull off a major coup by poaching MUFC academy chief. This guy, Everton have either approached him, headhunted him, they've been forceful, they've been aggressive, they've obviously offered him, more money, and they've offered him a big statement role as technical director. And it looks very much like Everton have pulled off yet another coup from a so-called big team. I think this is phenomenal, John. I really do. I think this to me, I really don't want to get carried away. But this and some of the other appointments we've made, use the word, but it feels like we've pressed reset with a bunch of people that actually know what they're doing.
But the thing is, you mentioned before about approaching him and listen, by all accounts, Man United weren't trying to get rid of him. And listen, Man United are a massive club, but I think it speaks volumes about the new owners at Everton that were approaching these people and telling them, and we had a conversation about this before, and telling them about where these new owners want to take the football club. And yeah, they're probably offering them more money, but that's the way the world is. Money makes the world turn round. It does. But for me, this fella from Man United is a bigger coup than the fella from Manchester City, in my opinion, because you've reeled it off there with the players that he's seen progress. And we've spoke about here on this channel a long time, many years, about our academy. And when was the last time we seen academy players come through and really make that breakthrough? And really, if you look at Man United, I know this fella wasn't there when the likes of Beckham and Scholes and all them players come through. But our academy, over the years under the previous owners and the previous regime, we haven't really seen much. This fella's coming in now, and if you look at what he's brought through at Man United and how he's nurtured them players, the likes of Mainoo, the likes of Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay's moved abroad and he's pulling up trees every week. And quite right with what you say, that was a player Everton should have got. We should have got him. And I just think now to bring these sort of people in with the structure that the Freakins are trying to do going forward, it can only be a positive. And again, I'm going to say what I've said many times on here. If the Freakins don't get this right with the people that they're bringing in and these acquisitions that they're adding on the board, on the coaching staff, on the recruitment side of it, with David Moyes coming back in, we can't get it right with this group of people, and just fuck the club and liquidate it. Because if these can't get it right with these acquisitions, no one will. And that's me being a positive negative, because we've been used to negativity as Everton fans. We've never felt this positive of where this group of owners are trying to take this football club. And again, I'll say it again, I feel like we're getting our football club back, because these people are bringing the right people in the right positions, and they're going to let them do the job. There will be money to spend. We all know that. And I just think they're bringing the right people in who know what they're doing. And that's the big thing for me. I haven't said that. These people know what they're doing. You reeled off the academy players that he brought through at Man United. We've already spoke about the fella who's come from Manchester City. We haven't had people in place at this football club with the pull And the major coups that we've got of getting these players, these people into the club, we haven't had that for I don't know how long.
No, and I think, look, the positive is when you actually go through the appointments Everton have made. So look, Angus Kinnear. We'll talk about him a little bit more in a minute, but they've signed Nick Hammond as head of trading. Influential, highly thought of, highly respected. Chris Howarth, head of strategy, again, highly respected, very good at his role, good background, good pedigree. James Smith as a senior scout, again, big pedigree, signed and found some big players, and then just that trickling as Nick Cox as the technical director. But then on top of that, you've got Premier League proven experienced manager in David Moyes. It's just, it feels like the Freakins have come in and every piece they've put together is deliberate. It sounds really weird, right? Because me and you were very convinced it would probably be someone like Dan Ashworth and, you know, that big sort of name that's well respected in football and, you know, probably shit on Newcastle a little bit, went to Man United, it hasn't worked, Man United look like idiots, blah, 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 blah. But the facts are, when you look at Everton with the structure they've put in place, they've put people in from clubs that, whether you like it or not, have done well. Manchester City, the talent, the scouting, the recruitment, you know, whether they should be able to do that or not, and the 115 charge is another thing, but they've tend to get it right. Nick Cox, you can't argue with some of the pedigree that's come through at Man United over the years, and you also can't argue with the fact that I believe this is correct, but I think it's something like for the last 35 to 40 years, there has always been an academy graduate on the bench. Every single game, there is an academy graduate on that bench. Now, albeit he's only been there 9 years, but he's been able to carry that legacy on. And then on top of that, you have got Angus Kinnear. And people, and Leeds, by the way, Leeds fans, Connor was one of them. And, you know, we know what Leeds fans think of Angus Kinnear. It's very mixed, very whatever. But this is Angus Kinnear that helped support bringing in Marcelo Bielsa to Leeds, who changed Leeds, got them promoted. He managed to get in people who, you know, Rafinha played for Leeds United and could potentially or is in the running to win the Golden Boot and has scored 30-odd goals at Barcelona. You know, this person, whether he's highly thought of in the game or not, clearly has some pedigree. He's worked at Arsenal, he's worked at West Ham, he's worked at Leeds, and he's now worked at Everton. So he knows what he's doing. And the other thing that I noticed about Angus Kinnear, and this is what people forget about Angus Kinnear, is his background's actually marketing. His background's marketing, which has been a weak point for Everton for the best part. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a weak part of Everton since the day I was born. I mean, you never see Everton shirts in airports, in shops, you never see Everton shirts anywhere other than websites. I think it changed a little bit this year with JD Sports. But up until recently, you could not buy an Everton shirt in any other place other than online and in the Everton shops. Ridiculous. So everything about this board, the change, the ambition, is different. Everything. I'm mega positive about next season. Mega.
Do you know? I put a tweet out before saying this is going to be a positive video, and people say, "Well, I'm not watching because we wait for your rants." The reason why I've ranted for years on this channel is because of the way our football club was run, and for the people who were brought in to run our beloved football club. And you know what this tells me now with the positivity that's coming and these people who are getting brought in? Do you know what it tells me? The Freakins have come into an absolute shit show of a club. And we all knew that, but we didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. You're here, Mermanans. These have come in and they went, "You're gone. No more jobs for the boys. You're gone. We'll have you. We'll have you. We'll have you." Positivity. They know what they want, and we can't say that about previous owners. We can't even say it about previous managers. We can't even say it about some of the previous players that we've had. But these have come in now and they've realised what a shit show that they've bought. They knew what they were walking into, the financial side of it, and the crippling debts that the club had under Mashiri, and the state that he put us in with PSR. They've come in. I think they've cleared every loan apart from one. They've looked at what certain people were doing in and around the club, and they went, "You're not good at your job, because if you were good at your job, the club wouldn't be in this mess. You're gone. No more jobs for the boys. Graham Sharp's gone. Graham Stewart will probably go." And I just think they've come in and they've looked at it and they thought, you know what? And this is what we want to hear. This football club is a sleeping giant, because for years, this club has been pulled through the mill. The shit that this fan base has had to put up with previous owners, i.e. Mashiri bringing managers in like Rafa Benitez. They've come in and they've gone, this is a massive football club. Look at the history. Look at the league titles they've won. Look at the FA Cups they've won. They had the best team in Europe until we got thrown out because of a certain team's actions. We had the best goalkeeper in the world at the time. These have come in. They've done their homework and they've gone, this is a giant that needs awakening. We've got a brand new stadium now. We're going to wake this up. We're going to get rid of the people who can't do their jobs, and we're going to bring the people in to take their place, who will put Everton Football Club back on the map, because these fans have had that much suffering. They don't deserve it. And that's the feeling I'm getting now. And it all boils down to what this group of people are doing and the people they're bringing in. We are getting our football club back.
Yeah, I think it's definitely exciting, mate. I feel so much better going into this season than I have done in many seasons. And look, I'm not going to sit...
Mate, I'm not being funny, mate. Sorry to interrupt. I am so much older than you, and I've been going for a long, long time. And I can't remember the last time I was this positive.
And it's weird, isn't it? Because, like, don't get me wrong, I think every Everton fan is rational. And by rational, you know, none of us are sitting there thinking this is a quick fix, this is a quick job. We know the issues. We know there's a transition from being a poor club that's been run poorly to a good club that's been run well. That we know there's a transition. We know there's PSR. We know there's player trading and progression in terms of league positions, etc. No Everton fan is expecting to finish in Champions League football next season, but we're expecting to progress from 13th in the league, and all of the building blocks that we would want look like they're being put in place for the long term. I honestly, I'm incredibly, incredibly positive. And I looked at the fixtures today. It sounds silly, but last season I would have looked at the fixtures. We went into that fixture list, and I was like, oh my God, I can't see us winning games. I can't see us doing well. I can't see us getting results anywhere. You know, we got absolutely dicked first game of the season, which I think was Brighton at home, if I'm not mistaken. It's a bit weird, really, that we've got Brighton at home again, first home game this season, next season. But there isn't, or doesn't appear to be, a month where we're getting absolutely whacked with the, you know, the common thing that Everton get, which is you got Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool in 5 games in a row. It's spread out, which means Everton, realistically, should always pick up a win. Always pick up a win a month. Always get a couple of wins a month, sort of thing. And I feel positive about that as well. So when I look at the fixtures and the first 5, and I'm reading that Everton have got the 5th hardest first 5 fixtures, and I'm sitting there reading them going, well, we could beat Leeds away. We could beat Brighton at home. We could beat Wolves away. Villa at home, I fancy a draw. And Liverpool away, yeah, look, you know, you don't know what happens there. I'm sitting there thinking, well, hang on, out of our first 5 games, we could get 10 points.
The thing is, it's good to go into a season like that, and you're quite right with what you say. I mean, I can't remember now, because I don't really want to remember it, but we went on an unbeaten run under Sean Dyche. was it 1 win in 14 or something, or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
And when you looked at the run of fixtures that we had each month, we expected to pick points up in some of them months, even if it was a draw and we didn't. When you look at the run of fixtures that we've got, there isn't a month where you'll go, okay, now we're not going to pick nothing up that month. And then the next month, we've got another run. We might get 2 draws there. We'll probably scrape a victory. That's 5, that's 5 points in fucking, 8 games or whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? And it is spread out. But I haven't looked at the fixtures like you have. And the reason for that is positivity. And again, listen, it might come down to bite me on the arse and we might be fucking shit next season. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I can't wait. I said to you before, when the PSR restrictions are lifted and we can go into July and we've been linked with players. And I also want to run on to something in a minute, what you said before to me on the phone. I just think that the right people are in place now. Well, not yet. Probably in the next week to 2 weeks, we're going to get the other 2 acquisitions in. Then we can really push for it. And I just think going forward, as you quite right with what you say, we haven't got to be scared. I'm not going to say we haven't got to be scared of anyone because we're not going to win the league. We're not going to challenge for the top 4. But it's positive, and we can feel positive. I want to go back to what I was going to say before, when you said about. I'm saying then I forgot now. Forgot. It'll come to me. It'll come to me.
The other thing I wanted to just mention is, look, we've been linked with several players during.
That's it. Sorry, before you butt in, yeah, I've got it. So we were talking about the players that we've been linked with in the past and the last couple of weeks, and last 2 weeks, and then about the people who were getting brought into the club now. And you said before, and I know you're probably going to say it now, we can probably forget all the links that we've been linked with now, because are we going to be linked with a better caliber again? Or them players who we were linked with, are these people coming in going, nah, forget him, don't want him, don't want Barry, don't want Walt Mead, forget him? Is this like, do you think this is like a clean slate now for all these recruitment people that we're bringing into place?
I don't necessarily think it's a clean slate, because for players to be scouted and to be linked, people, you don't just go, oh, we want to go sign him. You watch them for a few games. Everton, for example, Tieno Barry from Villarreal. Everton wouldn't have just gone, oh, we want to sign him now. They would have watched him or know about him for months before. David Moyes would have been fully aware of him, and David Moyes could be banging the drum to sign him with the new people that come in. But the facts are, when you've got a different director of football, it wouldn't surprise me.
Director of football, don't use that type.
But the difference is, the facts are that Everton's direction of travel is now different. Because they won't go for the same players, Having a director of football before, and my understanding is that Kevin Felwell's role has been split between 4 people now. Now, that either says to me that Kevin Felwell had absolutely shitloads going on and couldn't concentrate on one area of business, one area of Everton, or it does say to me that they want different people with specialist skills to specialise in certain areas. So I think all of these people are going to come in with their ideology, with their thought process. I think you're also going to see Everton linked with Man United youngsters, Man United players who have gone on to different clubs and senior careers, where, for example, Nick Cox goes, yeah, I think he's a good player, you should go sign him. The same with the Manchester City scout. You're going to see that. You're going to see several ideas now. Moyes will have had his, and he would have worked with Kevin Felwell over the last 6 months or whatever it works out to, and identified players. But the simple facts are, they're all going to come together now. They're all going to collectively write a bunch of players, and Everton, going into July, are going to move for them. Everton can't afford to wait until August, and Moyes knows that. The whole club knows that. You will see Everton very, very busy, very, very quickly come July. And the links with players like Kyle Walker, Sufel, maybe more senior players in their career. The lad from Lyon the other day, who's 32 as well. I genuinely don't think that's the approach Everton take. And I also don't believe that Everton will go and sign those type of players. I think Everton will look for youth first, and they'll look for stopgaps with experience after, which I could see a Kyle Walker coming in, for example, but it will have to be on the right basis with the mentality that he's going to help us become a winner. And it would not surprise me if you go and see the money spent early and then that sprinkling of experience brought in after to coach this group of players to go, right, Kyle, you're only in here for a year, maybe 2 years, but we want you to educate this defence, this mid, whatever, to be winners, because that is what you are. You've been a winner. And it would not surprise me if you see a sprinkling of that. You know, the Jack Grealishes of this world, maybe a striker with a winning pedigree. Would not surprise me at all if you see 3 or 4 winners brought into this team to help the younger players, which all of this recruitment's going to go for.
Well, when you look at the players, the people we're bringing in, you know, in the background with the scouting network and people who we've spoke about, they've all worked at clubs who've got a winning mentality. Not so much Man United in the last couple of years, but they've got a winning mentality. Now, I can't stand here and say to you that this squad of players at Everton, how many of them players have a winning mentality? How many of them players have experienced winning trophies? There's not many. There's not many. So you're quite right with what you say. They're going to come in and they're going to sprinkle it about with your Kyle Walkers, probably your Jack Grealish, because don't forget, we spoke about it last week. You've got this fella coming in from Man City who's worked with Jack Grealish. We know Jack Grealish. Now you've got a fella who's coming in who, you know, and Kyle Walker as well from Man City. You've also got a fella coming in from Man United, and there will be players out there who've won stuff at Man United. He will try and get them in. They've won stuff at youth level at Man United. How many of our players in the squad that we've watched over the last couple of years, even as youth players, how many of them have won anything? You know, so you start looking at the bigger picture and you go, well, our squad of players hasn't really got winners in it. I'm not dissing them. I'm not saying they don't try. A lot, the majority of them have tried for a couple of years, but they haven't got that winning mentality. Whereas these people who you're bringing in from Man City and Man United, they've worked with players who've got that winning mentality. And they're the sort of players who they're going to try and bring into Everton to mix it up with the likes of your Enders, the likes of your Pickfords, the likes of your Brantwaits, the likes of your Jake O'Briens. It's a good mix. But you've got to have certain players brought into this club by these two people with a winning mentality. Because it's pointless just bringing people in who've never won anything and go, well, he's a good player, but he's never won nothing. It's not a winning mentality. You need players brought in who've actually got trophies on their wall at home in their cabinet. And I think to mix it up a bit with young, exciting players going forward, but also winners, I think it's a good blend for the situation Everton are in. You know, 13, 14, 15 players gone. So we've got to mix it up with lone players, as you quite right what you say. You've got Sufel who's coming from West Ham. You know, he won a European trophy. You've got players like that. Souček, we've been linked with him. So there is a mix. It's not going to be easy. So this video has been so positive, but we need that many players bringing into this football club. It's not going to happen overnight. But I feel now, and this is the first time we've said this word in this video, I feel now this is a project. Everton are a project now. With the new owners, the new stadium, David Moyes coming back, bringing these people coming in who know football, who have nurtured winners through. They've seen success at Man City. They've seen success at Man United. They're coming into a project now. We spoke about this before. I think it's absolutely fantastic that you've got people who want to leave Man City to come to Everton, and you've got a fella who wants to leave Man United to come to Everton. to be part of this project, because going forward, Everton has become a massive project. With these coups that we've got into this football club, can only put Everton back on the map, in my opinion.
Yeah, spot on. Right, look, we will leave it there, but Everton clearly putting the jigsaw pieces in place before they go to town in July.
Frankie wants to say something at the end of the video, can he?
Yeah.
Do not say anything shit.
So started an Everton career. I'm in the 25-26 season, signed bunch of players. First game season, Forest at home. First half, after like 15 minutes, we were down 2-0. I thought, bloody hell, here we go. Another crap season. And I went in that dressing room and thought, these players don't know how to play football, because it doesn't seem like it. I made all 5 substitutions. Second half, straight after half time, they scored to make it 3-0. I thought, bloody hell, what's going on? I thought,
oh my god, you just sent your son into the moon.
So yeah, they scored just after half time. I thought it was 3-0, and I thought, what's going on here? And then we scored 1, then 2, and then 3 to make it 3-3. And guess who scored? All substitutions scored. Thank you.
Cut it all out apart from me sending them to Mars.
Jesus wept. Right, anyway, look, I hope you've enjoyed that.
Mr. Hey, we are the Blue Boys Positive Network.
It's weird, isn't it?
Coming back from dinner.
I know.
Weird.
We've got our club back. If this doesn't work, nothing will work.
No, well, look, listen, and guys, look, this is an important message just to end the video. Following some quite traumatic events, there is a GoFundMe page set up for Frankie's haircut, as you've just witnessed.
And to get him back from Mars.
The mop needs sorting, so we've got to bring him back from Mars and shave his hair to give him a proper haircut.
Nick
If that Walt needs any skill